On behalf of everyone at WNET, congratulations to Steve Adubato and the Caucus Educational Corporation on 25 great years of broadcasting.
Hi, I'm Bob Garrett. Hackensack University Medical Center believes that all citizens need to be informed about the important health issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Hackensack University Medical Center, Berkeley College, TD Bank, Qualcare Inc., a local managed care company covering 750,000 New Jersey residents, the law firm of GIBBONS PC, Verizon Communications, and by the Russell Berry Foundation.
This is One-on-One.
That's good acting, man.
I get that a lot. I go to Atlantic City all the time, like, are you the guy? I go, no, I'm not.
This is one you can't afford to miss.
They thought that I wouldn't survive it, but I knew I would.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. We are coming to you from the Tisch WNET studios here in Lincoln Center. It is my honor and my privilege to introduce Susan Marenoff-Zausner, who is the president of the Intrepid Sea, Air, and Space Museum here in New York City. Good to see you.
It's great to see you. Thanks for having me.
For those who do not know what the museum is, describe it for us.
Well, I think in a nutshell, it's the only place in the world where you have a legendary aircraft carrier that was commissioned in 1943 that one can explore. And it's more than that. It's a complex because there is a submarine, a nuclear surveillance submarine, the only one that is now of its kind open to the public for exploration. There is a space shuttle, which I think many people might know about now, and I hope know about, the Enterprise space shuttle, and a Concorde aircraft, a Blackbird aircraft, and about 25 other aircraft on the ship. So it's very, very unusual complex, but that's about it in a nutshell.
Tell folks where it is located.
It's on the West Side Highway on the river, on the Hudson River at 46th Street. So I think we can say also it's the only aircraft carrier in Midtown Manhattan.
Describe the whole NASA Enterprise thing and why it was so big. Why are you rolling your eyes when I'm saying that? This was huge.
It was amazing. I roll my eyes in the sense that it was probably the largest acquisition that the Intrepid undertook in its 30-year history. But it is also the largest NASA artifact now in the entire Northeast Corridor.
How competitive?
Started out with 29 institutions responding to a request for information that NASA sent out 3 years ago.
They wanted it.
Everybody wanted it. And everybody wanted it because it is a magical piece of institutional history for the United States of America. It speaks about progress. It speaks about STEM, which we're all so concerned about today.
STEM stands for?
Science, technology, engineering, and math, which our students need more of.
Right.
And it is an icon for our future. It is about now a tool for New York and for the surrounding area and all that come to see it, to be used to help educate and perpetuate not only the legacy of what it stood for, but how we need to keep progressing.
Why don't we take a look at the NASA Enterprise? And you fought for it, you won, we won here in the New York metropolitan area. Let's see what we fought for and why we won.
The hangar doors opened, out came this ship, and the Air Force band was playing the theme from Star Trek. It was great. It was a great day. That's why we're here today, to welcome her back to New York.
You know it's right. There it is. We got it. There it is.
Wow. What was it like?
It was a remarkable day. I'm getting emotional now thinking about it. It was a brilliant culmination of 3 years of work. And it was a technical feat. Watching the beauty of it also fly in on top of this 747 was just a marvel. And I think for all of us, certainly at Intrepid, we were so proud to be able to bring that sight and that experience to people that haven't seen that in forever.
Is that you?
That's me.
You look happy.
That now is July 19th, so fast forward a few months, and it is after we brought her up the Hudson River, put her resting on the flight deck, and then built a pavilion over her, an experience inside the pavilion around her, and we cut the ribbon so that all could see.
Yeah. So over 10 million visitors since 1982, over 1 million this past year.
Correct.
To the Intrepid. Describe what it is. I mean, we have boys who are 8 and 10, and I'm embarrassed to admit they have not been there, but they will.
They better.
Thank you. That's good marketing. They better. That's a good slogan. You better come here. When young people and everyone else who goes to the Intrepid Museum describe what it is they will see and experience.
As far as the Enterprise is concerned, once they go through what is this incredible aircraft carrier that tells the story of traveling through World War II and 3 tours in Vietnam and NASA recovery missions for Mercury and Gemini, it shows that, well, in the pavilion, you walk up to the flight deck and you go inside a pavilion, and it is striking. What we have done is we have created a balance of a very intimate setting for an enormous object, for a 170-foot plus object, and we have made her brilliant, as you can see. We've made her glow. But what you'll see is incredible technology. I think that when people come there, they don't realize how big it truly is. And it was the start. It was the start of, and it was also a bridge, and I'll get to that, but it was the start of what was an amazing set of years of progress, of research, of learning for America and for the world. And for every constituent, for every generation, it means something different. So it starts a dialogue for those who have been around since it launched. It starts a dialogue of, well, what's our future like? For kids, it gives them a little bit of history and a little bit of inspiration, or a lot of inspiration. But it is really this incredible bridge between what was flight before and what was flight after. And part of that dialogue is, what's flight going to be going forward for us? So are we going to be utilizing the Russian Soyuz as a corporate America? And so it's a very intellectual debate that we create, and it's also a very basic level of education that we can now help to illuminate for kids, whether it's a science, technology, engineering, or math. So it's very exciting for us. We feel that we have a big responsibility on a lot of different levels.
School children, how many?
Of the 1 million visitors, over 200,000 kids come in, but we have about 57,000 that come in for formal programming through the Department of Education. We follow the guidelines through New York City and for the National Department of Education in the United States. And so 57,000 come in, but we also do professional development. So we teach teachers. And again, this is a subject matter that there isn't necessarily a lot of time for in the classroom.
Right.
And so teachers will then be able to project this to about another 58,000 kids from our statistics. But we also educate them for when they come in, so that it's a really, it's a full class of learning. There's context in the learning when the kids come here.
You have a great job.
I have a great job.
I didn't say it was easy, because you're always having to market and bring in money and make the budget work, but you do love this.
I love this job. I think we all do. There's a pretty amazing passion for everybody that works at the Intrepid, and we have an amazing platform. Not everybody is given this incredible tool from which to be able to work and deliver, and we were given that, so it's pretty special.
Susan Marenoff-Zausner. By the way, one other thing you want to say other than the Enterprise that people would come and see at the museum would be?
The Blackbird, the Concorde, the Growler, the rest of the museum. There's just an amazing amount of stuff. It's
I knew
so
I was
interactive.
going to get one thing. I knew it. You're good. I knew that you were not going to pick one thing.
That's why you better come.
Susan, thank you so much. President of the Intrepid Sea, Air and Space Museum. All the best. Over on the west side between?
46th Street, right at 46th Street and 12th Avenue.
Got it. This is one-on-one from the Tisch WNET studios here at Lincoln Center. We'll be back right after this.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD.
There she is, Ricki Stern, co-director of the film Knuckleball. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good.
By the way, set up Knuckleball for us. We're about to see a clip from it. Knuckleball is a film about?
It is a film about this quirky, esoteric pitch, the knuckleball. Now there's only one in Major League Baseball who throws the knuckleball, R.A. Dickey.
Out in Queens?
Yes, yes.
R.A. Dickey.
For the Mets, yes.
Pretty great pitcher.
He's a great pitcher. He's up for the Cy Young Award. We hope he gets it. But the year we filed, 2011, it was R.A. Dickey was his first year with a 2-year contract in the major leagues as a knuckleball pitcher, and it was Tim Wakefield's potentially last year with the Red Sox. And the film is really not just about baseball. It's about the people who look to reinvent themselves, and they go to sort of this quirky pitch that not many people have thrown historically in baseball, that's considered a trick pitch. And it's really about craftsmanship. They have to work really, really hard to learn this pitch, and they have to commit to it. And sometimes they can just get by, and they can make it to the major leagues. And for us, it's really a story about following your dreams and your passion and overcoming obstacles to accomplish what you want. And that's what we related to in it.
You want to see a clip?
Sure.
More importantly, do you want to see a clip? I know you do. It's from Knuckleball. Let's take a look.
The knuckleball, it looks easy, but like most things in baseball, it's a lot harder than it looks.
You need the fingertips of a safecracker and the mind of a Zen Buddhist. Because you throw the ball off of your fingertips, but if one of those fingers happens to catch on the ball or stay on it a little bit longer, it tumbles. And once the ball tumbles, it's like batting practice. Here, hit it.
A lot of times it has a mind of its own.
It's going to do whatever it feels like doing, and you don't know what that's going to be.
You let it go and see where it takes you.
The ball doesn't even spin.
No, that's the whole point. In order to do it well, they just like a quarter rotation on the ball. They don't want it to spin.
For those of us who are Yankee fans, right? We just had our friend, our boss here, Neil Shapiro. He was a big Yankee fan. When I take a look at Tim Wakefield, I think of all the games against the Red Sox. And there were some times where he had the Yankees going crazy. Sometimes we got him good.
Right.
But sometimes he had us, I say us like we played for the Yankees. He had the best hitters chasing and chasing.
Yeah.
Wakefield.
Yeah.
Did he go to this pitch because he had nothing else left?
Yeah, it's what they call a last chance type pitch. In fact, that's what he says. It's a pitch born out of desperation. Nobody wants to go, grows up and goes like, I'm going to get to the major leagues throwing the knuckleball because it's so distrusted. Even Tim, who's been throwing it, thrown it for 17 years for the Red Sox, it was still, in the movie, you hear from Francona that, you have to sit on your hands.
Terry Francona, who was the manager,
of
the Red Sox.
Yeah, the managers, they sit on their hands.
Because by the way, they can't help the knuckleball.
They can't.
They have no idea how to throw it. There's no pitching coach.
There's no pitching coach.
By the way, the knuckleballer breaks a nail. What happens?
Well, in the movie, R.A., he's throwing the home opener in 2011, and he has this weird first couple pitches, and we're going, we're filming this thing, like, what's going on? What's going on? We see him look down at his fingernail. He had chipped a nail. And, they throw it really literally off their fingernail tips, and so it threw him off for a day or two until the nail grew back and he could get it back into place, because it's a very finesse type of a pitch.
I'm sorry, I threw you off. You were talking about Terry Francona.
Well, what I was saying is that, the managers, they literally sit on their hands because they want to take them out, because it's one of these pitches that when it's bad, it's really, really bad.
It is
it's
like
high,
a big fat pitch in batting practice.
Right. And
like you're lobbing the ball in.
That's right. It can look like that, and if it doesn't come in and it doesn't have movement on it, it's very easy to hit.
Okay, so say someone says, listen, I'm not that into baseball, so how could I like your film?
Well, I was really not that into baseball either.
You're not a big baseball fan?
No, and nor is my film partner, Annie. We were just, now I really love it because I get it, but I just hadn't really watched it. The film is really not about baseball. Baseball, this pitch, is a vehicle for accomplishing your dream, but I think what people relate to, and even kids watching it, it's a story about guys who had a passion and a dream as little boys, and that's we tell it from the point when they're little boys, and they had to do whatever they could to stay in the game. I mean, Tim came in, he wasn't even a pitcher, he was a position player, and they basically said, we're gonna cut you, your dreams are over, go back, get a job, finish college, or you can try to pitch. And he tried it, and he was successful. He wasn't always successful, and that's the other thing about these guys, is that they often reach success later in life. I mean, R.A. Dickey is now into his mid to late 30s, and he's having the best year he's ever had. Most guys in baseball are retiring at this age. But I think if you're someone who just likes a good story, that's what this film is about, and about camaraderie, because we have the old knuckleballers in the movie. Phil Necro, Charlie Huff, Tom Candiotti. But the guys go on a golf retreat, and
the knuckleballers.
The knuckleballers, the four of them, and you really see sort of the special insight into this bonding that these men have, and they care for each other and they advise each other, and that's fairly unique in professional sports today.
Rare,
yeah.
You love doing this.
I love it. I love this movie especially, but yeah, I love making documentaries.
It's interesting. When you got into this, you didn't love baseball. You didn't know much about. You didn't know anything about.
No, I studied really hard.
But who said to you, let's do this knuckleball thing?
I have a friend who's a producer on it, Chris Schomer. She wrote The Treatment along with Dan Kogan, 2 producers, and they sent it to me. And literally they sent it, I think, on a Sunday night. I read the 1 page about it, told my family. They started to knuckleball apples around my kitchen because they loved the knuckleball. And Annie, my film partner, and I were on a plane about 3 days later at spring training to meet R.A. and Tim, and then we just started shooting.
But then you had to travel all over with these guys.
We did 162 days on the road.
Where can people see the film?
It's on iTunes right now. It's on video on demand, and in the spring it'll be released in DVD and on cable.
Curious about this before I let you go. For both R.A. Dickey and Tim Wakefield, 2 guys who have had these fascinating careers, and Wakefield is where he is in this process. He's out of it, right? Dickey experiencing great success, you know, a couple boroughs over in Queens. Their reaction to the film?
You know, I think because this is a pitch that is not the hero's pitch, they're the anchors of the team, they don't really get in the spotlight that much. So for them to see it portrayed and given the respect that they feel it deserves has been a thrill for them and for all the knuckleballers. Jim Bouton, you hear Jim Bouton in there.
From the 1960s, New York Yankees.
That's right. So, Ball 4.
Oh boy, his former Yankee mates didn't appreciate that book.
They didn't. They didn't. For a while, and then they came around.
Some.
Yeah, true.
Some.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, listen, Ricki Stern, co-director of Knuckleball. Get it on?
Get it on iTunes or video on demand.
I'm going to make sure that I watch the whole thing. Seeing clips is one thing. Excerpts from it, seeing the whole thing is another. Ricki, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Steve Adubato here at the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. You don't have to be a Yankee fan or a baseball fan to appreciate this movie. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Thanks.
If you would like more information on this program, or if you'd like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Visit us online at oneonone.org. Or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD.
There he is, Benjamin Klein, the resident director of Warhorse, and to his left, Matt Acheson, I can do this, resident puppetry director of Warhorse. How you doing, guys?
We're great. Excellent.
I mean, Warhorse is big. 5 Tonys, right, in 2011, including Best Play.
Yep.
And where can people see this play?
At Lincoln Center.
Why do you look at
Vivian
him
Beaumont.
for the answer?
We do everything together at the theater. You know, we're the team that keeps the show going. So, along with our stage managers, we kind of bounce off of each other. So, I don't know whether or not it's a puppet thing or if it's an actor thing. So I just jump up there.
But I got to tell you something. You just look at. By the way, we have video, guys. As we're getting ready to set up some of the videos, some of the pictures. These horses are puppets, and there's multiple people inside the. Right?
Yeah.
Why don't we do this? Instead of me doing a terrible description, you don't have to laugh at that. I'm already embarrassed.
It was great. It was great.
Why don't we take a look at a clip from Warhorse, and then we'll talk about it. First of all, as I'm watching, I'm not even thinking there are people inside, right?
Yeah. That's our hope.
A, how does that happen? B, give us the setup of the story.
Go ahead, tell them how it happened.
I think that from the very beginning of the show, we kind of lay out the mechanisms right there on stage. There's the puppet, and then you see the puppeteers. And I think what is so successful and why the puppeteers disappear is because we're asking you to meet us halfway, if not more, with the story. So as an audience member, you become completely active, and you're doing the work. You're doing more work than we are, so you become immediately more invested in the production, in the story, and you just jump right in and follow along.
And the story is simply stated, a boy and his horse.
Yeah, I like to say a horse and his boy.
Yeah.
it's a really
you have to be contrary.
Oh yeah, I do basically. Well, it's a story about Joey. Joey is our protagonist of this story. We follow him to war. Then Albert, who is the boy in the show, goes into war as well.
Joey's the horse.
Joey's the horse, exactly. So we watch Joey grow up from a foal, and then we get to see him go off to war, and it's whether or not Joey and Albert will find each other again. But the whole time you're following Joey and trying to find out if he's going to survive the war and what's going to happen.
What always amazes me when I was looking at this and doing the research, getting ready for the show, I'm thinking, and I said this to you right before we got on the air, the level of physical fitness, right, of the puppeteers has got to be off the charts, right?
Yeah, it's a very, very physical show, and the puppets themselves weigh a lot, and they take riders, so the weight gets even more.
Much?
I think the puppets weigh about 85, 90 pounds, and then once a rider gets on that, it's another however much that person weighs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How many puppeteers are we talking?
There are 15 total, and there's 4 teams of 3 puppeteers.
4 teams of 3 puppeteers.
Yeah, and so the teams rotate throughout the week. So they don't do, not one team does 8 shows in a horse.
Right.
That would probably kill them.
It keeps them moving, and they're constantly doing it. They might do Joey, the main horse, and then they might do Topthorn, who's another horse, who's the black horse that you saw in the footage, and then they'll do other things.
Yeah, even when they're not in a horse, they're still running around on stage constantly throughout the show, being a soldier or crow, or there's secondary horses that they also play.
So they're constantly, we talked about this before, they have to rehab, they have to make sure that they avoid injuries. If they are injured, they have to make sure that they're taken care of. All these things matter.
Yeah, we're keeping the physical therapy offices working right now, and they're getting acupuncture, they're getting massages, they're taking care of their own bodies in the ways that they have to do, and they are, they're incredibly well fit.
How'd you guys get pulled into this whole thing?
I worked on The Coast of Utopia, which was also at Lincoln Center Theater, and so I was the associate director on that, and so I had a relationship with the theater, and directing's what I do, and Warhorse came around, and they asked me if I'd come aboard. So.
What's your story?
I've just been a puppeteer in New York for quite some time, and when the creative team came over originally, I think they were just looking to see who's in the city and who's available, and luckily they contacted me, and then I stayed there.
What makes this particular play so different from any other play you've worked on?
Oh gosh, I think this show is an accumulation of amazing creative work. You've got the puppetry, but you've got an amazing soundtrack of music. You've got a story that's incredibly human, that touches people, that is funny at times, and you've got live musicians on stage. I mean, all of the elements come together and crash and become this incredible theatrical experience.
I think it's also exciting that there's all these elements, but it's such an incredibly simple design, and it's such a minimal stage that, again, it's the work of everybody in that room on stage and in the audience that actually makes the show work. And
Talk about the audience. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Talk about the audience reaction. I'm curious about this. you said meet earlier on in the interview. You said we asked them to meet us halfway. No, we asked them to meet us a little bit more than halfway. How quickly, and I know every audience is different, but by and large.
By and large, I think as soon as Baby Joey starts the show,
the red horse.
Yep. We look around. Some people start to cry right away.
Yeah.
Some people like lean into the edge of their seat. It's pretty. The horses are gorgeous.
I've heard
and the lighting is gorgeous.
Oh, it's amazing. I've heard a story where an audience member. At one point, there's lots of explosions in the show because we're at war, obviously. And at one point, they actually thought, oh, I wonder what all those explosions do to the horses. You know, so they had fully gone to that place where they were thinking there were live horses in the theater, and that must really make them crazy. You know, and that's the kind of thing that you're thinking about all the time. Is like, you know, there's that you go over, you see them breathe, which is amazing.
You see them breathe.
Yeah.
Where do you guys watch the show from?
Oh, all over.
What do you mean all over?
Well, wherever we can find a seat, depending on the night. but we're up in the balcony, in the loge. We're downstairs. We're off to the sides. We're in the stage management office.
It's important to get a different
everywhere.
vantage point of the show throughout, and to hear it from different places. Because if you're further down in the orchestra section, you might be hearing different things, and making sure the acoustics are always great. But yeah, we're all over the place.
You know, you won the 5 Tony Awards in 2011, and for us, we're always tweaking and trying to get things better. We want to think we're the best, but what does that mean? You know, when you're the best, how do you tweak? Real quick, 30 seconds.
Oh gosh, that's the thing about live theater. You're never done. You're always making it better.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, and keeping it fresh and spontaneous, and keeping the horses wild. That's the biggest thing.
Where can people see Warhorse?
You can see it at the Lincoln Center Theater at Vivian Beaumont Theater, and you can check out information on warhorseonstage.com.
See, that's why we came to Lincoln Center, because we get to do this show and meet terrific people like you doing great work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
One on One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One on One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Hackensack University Medical Center, Berkeley College, TD Bank, Qualcare Inc., a local managed care company covering 750,000 New Jersey residents, the law firm of GIBBONS PC, Verizon Communications, and by the Russell Berry Foundation. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger and NJ.com, Everything Jersey, and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association and its monthly magazine, New Jersey Business. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. One on One with Steve Adubato has been produced in partnership with St. Joseph's Healthcare System.
I'm John Campbell, Berkeley College, class of '98, associate's degree in paralegal studies.
I'm Busi Matsiko Andan, Berkeley College class of 2004, bachelor's degree in business administration.
Melvin Montalvo, class of '91 and 2003, degrees in accounting and management.
Simi Papachin, class of 2001, bachelor's degree in business administration.
From different walks of life, our students succeed in different ways, yet their first step is exactly the same. Berkeley College.
Hello, I'm Rafael P. Roman.
And I'm Steve Adubato.
Join us every week on New Jersey Capitol Report.
Because we'll ask the questions that you want and need answered.
Airing on NJTV, 13, and WHYY. Check your local listings.